Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Welcome to TMC podcast episode 15 here at Anarchy Brewery, the home of war beer. Support war flags, scan the QR code in the top corner of your screen or head to the website that is linked in the description. Keg, how we doing, mate?
Bonjour, full of cold, so
Nice.
I apologise if I'm coughing or
that.
sniffing on, so do apologise. Feeling a little bit better though, didn't really have much sleep last night, I was up all night coughing and splooging on.
Lovely.
So I'm a little bit tired, just trying to get myself some of these, just to get myself through the day.
Well, that's the perfect remedy right there, is the old war
Certainly
beer.
is.
That'll sort you out. And I look forward to catching that cold in.
You do, because your immune system's like a fucking child's.
It is terrible. It's worse than a child's. So I look forward to that happening. And then if anyone's wondering why I missed the Brighton game, it's probably because he's gave us the flu.
It's not like last time I gave you COVID, so it's
Well, you never know. You probably have. Probably this is it. Anyways, let us know in the comments how you are doing, your thoughts on everything Newcastle United is. We've got plenty of topics to run through this evening, focusing on Dougie Freedman and the new director of football. Also, let us know if you can hear us all right. We have the microphones attached to us once more in a new camera set up there as well. And we're going for a little bar setup today on the barrel. Nice. Looking nice for you that are listening in on Spotify and Google. I haven't got a clue what we're talking about. But we are all there. We are on all podcast platforms as well. Audio, you can listen back to it. So let's start then, Keg, with that nice... I was going to say it. I did have a nice trip to Burnley. You went there.
I wasn't, thankfully.
We were a couple of years ago. Ever since, he said he wouldn't go back. Stuck to his ways. I went back. I enjoyed it.
Good results. What was the weather like? Was that right?
Oh, it was raining as usual.
Wow. It's Burnley, so I'm not surprised about
that.
What did we get last time? It was
hailstone,
bit of sleet, hailstone.
That was probably coming, like.
Lifting.
Probably wasn't far off. Bit of sleet and spring in Burnley. Fucking snows in August down there, apparently. Yeah. But, all right, the town itself, not great. Not great at all. The stadium itself, it's even worse. After that South Shields Arena on a charity match a few weeks ago, that's better.
Yeah.
Way better. Big up the old Cloud Arena in South Shields. But Turf Moor, it is still terrible, mate. Yeah. It really is terrible.
It's not Premier League standard.
No, they deserve
I don't know how
to
it
get
passed any tests. I'm sure most stadiums have to get, tried and tested. That's why Luton missed the first couple of games. They got postponed because their stadium, obviously, they were playing in the bloody National League 4 years ago. So they've had a mad meteoric rise. Burnley, when did they first get promoted? It must have been about 6-7 years ago or so when they first got promoted. How have they not made any improvements since? It's ridiculous. I don't know how they're passing any tests. Lifting.
Dave says there's an error with the stream, but then we've got a couple of comments after that from Aaron, even as always, and Tony. All right, lads. So hopefully there isn't an error with the stream, and it's just your Wi-Fi, Dave, because everything looks all right on our end. Let us know, everyone else that's watching, over 100 of you tuned in already, if it's working okay, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll be absolutely stinking.
Yeah, we'll be a little bit
anyways, Burnley, I tell you what, did I enjoy the trip? Not so much. I was on the coach. I got roped into the coach journey.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not. Check out the vlog. Cheers, Stevie. Getting us on that coach. Dave says it's okay now. Absolutely fine for Miss Magpie in there as always. So nice one, RG Fox. Cheers. Nice one, people. Looks good on our end, so hopefully it is for you. So I went on the coach. Decided the night before. The trains apparently were really cheap at the start. The win at the end. I thought, do you know what it is? I'll jump on the L coach. I thought it was an hour and 45 minutes to Burnley. I was wrong. I went on maps on the morning.
That's your wish. I wish you would take that home.
It said 3 hours, and I thought, well, 3 hours on Google Maps in my car is going to be at least 4 on this bus that was going about 22 miles an hour the entire journey, going down mountain lanes and everything instead of just going on the motorway.
It was a bit of a sketchy drive. I remember last time because it was winter when we went, middle of winter 2019 when we went to that first game where I swore to never go back. It was a little bit of a sketchy drive, wasn't it?
It was, but then I was on the coach, and to be fair, it was really good crack on the coach. Loads of good lads in there, nice lads in there, good crack, asking why the famous YouTuber was on the coach. Humble, do you know what I mean? Humble.
Sit down.
Humble beginnings, yeah? Stuck on that coach. But it was, honestly, it was a good laugh, the coach, us at the front, Stevie and I had the beers going, had the tunes going from 8 o'clock in the morning. You know what it is? It was good crack. I didn't mind it. Coming back was a bit worse. At least we were 1-4-1, but...
I was going to say, at least you got the win, not like last time.
I stuck out to Turf Moor for about 40 minutes waiting to leave, man. Jesus. What a mission, but it was worth it in the end for the 3 points. It was a good experience. I tell you what, I would maybe do it again. Actually, no, I wouldn't. But it was close, Burnley. There's no chance that I would do it. Remember when we did Spurs in the coach?
Yeah, at least it's not that
Not doing
far.
that again.
Yeah.
That was 8 hours on it?
I didn't know. It was
it was awful.
That was hot and all. It was pure heat wave. It was scorching, stinking.
There was a wasp on the coach.
I was a wasp on the coach. I was packed and all. But that was just like a normal coach. It wasn't even like a supporter coach. It was National Express. Oh, that was horrible. Definitely not doing that again.
So it was good crack in the end, and it was made even better by the resounding victory, which, funny enough, right, opening 10 minutes, I was standing there, eating my chicken balti pie.
Oh, it was
and
nice.
I was thinking, it was actually very sweet for a pie, which I thought was a bit weird. Don't know what was in that. But I thought, oh, what if I came down to Burnley for it again? We didn't touch the ball for the first 10 minutes. It was all Burnley. But then quality shined through. I think the first goal, whoever was going to get it would have went on to do something, because once we got the first, Burnley just lay over. The fans were flat. They were leaving early. So we came to the game with that early goal. But what did you think of the formation? And Keg, you do your lineup predictions on Twitter and stuff. We had the 4-4-2.
Yeah.
At the top of Wilson.
Didn't expect it. Eddie Howe is a bit of a stickler for his formation, doesn't really like to change, and I don't get why he would, because it works 9 times out of 10. I'm going for the good old, big old Mike Bassett 4-4-2. I'm a stickler for. I'm an old school enthusiast. I'm a 90s kid. I lived through 4-4-2. It was either 4-4-2 or nout. I was need diamond formations back in the 90s. I was need 4-3-3s, 5-4-2s, or fucking whatever. 4-4-2 for everyone. That was it. You knew where you stood, and I love it. I miss them days. I miss the good old 4-4-2. So yeah, I couldn't work it out when they put the lineup out, because when they put it out, they put it in like squad number order instead of like where it's easier to kind of dissect it. And I was looking, I was like, Wilson's in there with Isaac. I was thinking, I was trying to count it up. I was like, what the fuck were they in here? I couldn't work it out for the life of us. I think Downey posted it was going to be a 4-4-2. I think I worked it out in the end. Then Downey put out that it was a 4-4-2. I was like, okay, interesting. Kind of going Burnley for Burnley here. Like, brought a matching up. It was brought a dicey 4-4-2 bullshit. I like this, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, I got the job done. Like I said, a bit of a sketchy start, like it kind of reminisced of Sheffield United the week beforehand. Obviously, we started that shockingly. Went 1-0 down. Could have easily happened at Burnley. But even if we did, I think it would have been like Sheffield United. I think we would have, like, class have shown through. Like, they're not good teams. I think over the course of the season, they've both been terrible. I'm quite surprised that if Burnley actually did win, that would have pulled them out of the bottom 3. I'm surprised at that, because I thought they would have been rooted down there long gone with Sheffield, but they've picked up a few points. Like, they actually started to get a little bit of form coming into the Newcastle game. So I was nervous about it, because them teams like when you had them back to back like a few weeks ago, and we were looking at the last like 7 or 8 fixtures, you looked at Sheffield and Burnley and thought that could be a banana skin there, you know, because like teams at the bottom, particularly when they've got now to play for, like Sheffield, were goners. They were the better team in the first half.
Should have been 3 up.
Literally. And then again with Burnley, out of nowhere, they actually were playing for something. All of a sudden, they're actually fighting for survival now. And they had a pretty good form like beforehand. So it was like, oh, this is away as well. Thinking, oh, this has got banana skin written all over it. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then first 10 minutes, it's like, oh, no, this is it. Like, we're going to get beat. Yeah, this is going to be... Even a draw would have been a horrible result for us. But yeah, like, they got the 10, 15 minutes or so out of the way. Then, yeah, 3-0 up, much more comfortable than Sheffield was, because that was 1-1, not comfortable at all. So, yeah, 3-0 at half-time, game done.
Yeah. I thought going into it as well, you know, Burnley were, I think it was only 1 defeat in 8 or something like that. They'd scored a few goals. They were on a decent run of form, and knowing that a win got them out of the relegation zone. I was going to say I expected a bit more than, but that 10 minutes is what I did expect. And it just shows why they're down there.
Exactly.
They haven't got the quality. Going forward, they haven't got it. You know, you're Fofana on loan from Chelsea and stuff who came in late. Like, they just haven't got enough going forward at all. You look at, even when I look at Sheffield, and they've been relegated before them. I look at Brereton Diaz, I look at Hamer, 1 or 2 players.
Some decent players in there. It's just they don't work. To be fair, apart from players that were there under Daishi a couple of years ago, I probably couldn't even name half the players. I'd say, apart from a couple of loanees, like Fofana, I didn't even know half that team.
I seen their starting name, and I was like, oh, actually, the worry I had, I was like, surely we've got to do this, But the 4-4-2, listen, it worked a treat. It was great to see Hall and Livramento as the fullbacks. I thought Lewis Hall had a fantastic game.
Yeah,
really good.
I'm a big fan of Lewis Hall. I think every game he's played this season, and he's had a bit of a sticky start, because I think Eddie Howe was thinking he needs a bit more development. Injuries have forced him into the starting 11 for the last few weeks, and I just don't think he's put a foot wrong. I think he's been absolutely class every single game.
He's just so progressive with it, and I love it. I love how energetic he is, how much he bombs forward, his eye for a pass. He takes on people with ease for me. I think he's quality, and we know what Tino brings on the other side.
Yeah.
And then,
fullbacks of the future.
Exactly. I want fullbacks for the next 10 years, hopefully. England's future fullbacks?
You'd hope so, especially at left back, because, well, since actually Cole, we haven't had a left back. Like, we've got potential in Shaw, but he's always injured. Chilwell's always injured.
Crap now.
Right back, well, stacks, to be fair. Like, even a few players have kind of dropped off the boil a little bit, like a few years ago when we were talking about, like, Wan-Bissaka and people like that. Like, Reece James has been injured. Trent doesn't really play fullback for England. You got Trippier. There's a bunch of players there, so Tino's going to have a much harder fight, I think, than Lewis Hall. I think Hall will get in a bit easier because he's a natural left back and crying out for a good left back.
Because I think you'll see that next month at the Euros where Southgate will probably play Trippier left back, who's been knackered for months and he's 33. But I like the fullbacks, and you know what I did like as well? Jacob Murphy, right mid. That for me is his best position.
Yeah.
We've seen him right wing as a front three, not good enough for me, not creative enough. We've seen him as a right back, even as a right full back, wing back, just on the flank, good old fashioned.
He is like a proper old school 4-4-2.
He is an old, because the best thing about him is his quick delivery, no thinking, quick cross, get it in, and then he got 2 assists on the weekend. It was easy for us. Like, I thought Burnley played it into our hands, and you know it was so comfortable for us just to do that typical triangle or that typical cut back and then put it across. It was straightforward. But listen, Murphy came out of the game with 2 assists, and I thought he had a very good game and all.
Yeah, and I know like Murphy's not like the prettiest name on the team sheet. Like, he's not like a big star. He's not exactly a fan favourite, but I think he goes wildly underrated. Like, did he see his assist for Isaac against Sheffield United? That pass, that was sublime. That through ball, like, it was just a one shot, like just perfectly weighted. Isaac didn't even need to run onto us, didn't need to think about it too hard. Just first time, first touch, bang, bottom corner. Just the ball was just absolutely sensational. Like, he is such a drastically underrated player. Like, yes, we need to improve that right wing, right mid spot, whatever position we're going to go for. I'm assuming we'll be going back to 4-3-3 sooner rather than later, but whatever position it is, Murphy could be upgraded. Obviously, we've got Almiron back from injury now as well. Like, Murphy's a perfect squad player. Like, again, it's something else we spoke about a few weeks ago. Potential summer business. Like, most people would want Almiron out, and we need an upgrade. We've got Minter coming back, but Murphy, squad player, unbelievable. Newcastle fan, half Geordie, practically one of us. You can, like I say, you can play right wing, right mid, right wing back, right full back. He's versatile, and he plays with his heart on his sleeve. He plays as a Geordie, as a Newcastle fan, someone that wants to do well for the club, and he just epitomises. For me, he's a Burn, he's a Longstaff, he's a Miley, he's an Elliott, because he is a Geordie. His dad is, and he was born and raised a Newcastle fan, so he gets it just as much as anyone, just because his accent doesn't tell you he's a Geordie. He is in my eyes.
No, same. He's one of our own in my eyes as well. He's got the kit on when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Christmas and all that. Loves it. And then in midfield alongside him, you've stuck up for Sean Longstaff quite a bit. Got himself a goal. Very good finish, to be fair. I thought.
7th of the season. Not a bad return.
I seen this mad thing on Twitter. Did you see it? The more goals Longstaff scored than... I should have saved it.
I don't think I did, no.
The players that Longstaff's got more goals than.
Oh, I didn't say that, no. But
unreal when you read it.
Interesting. Anthony.
When you read it. I can't remember who it was now, but there was some big hitters in there. You know, your Jesus's and...
Jesus.
Players like that. See what we find it on your Twitter.
But I'm sure someone said that he's just as good as Isaac.
Who said that?
Some Arsenal fan a couple of weeks ago. I think when we beat Tottenham, I think Arsenal fans were like, he's just as good. He's got just as much pace. He's just as good on the ball, just as good a finisher. I knew it.
I didn't know that. Like,
just good. He hasn't scored as many goals as Sean Longstaff. Dead good finisher, though. No worries.
Just looking there, they were trying to find it. And what's coming up more than that is Matty Longstaff, who scored for Toronto.
Did he?
This weekend. Matty Longstaff scored for Toronto. But that Longstaff scored more goals and was unbelievable. Some of the big players in there. I think it was like Trent and that was on there, and some big names anyways.
He got a couple, didn't he? Who did he get a brace against? So he scored 2 in one game. I can't remember who it was. Obviously scored against PSG. He's got a few goals this season. Was it Fulham maybe earlier in the season, around about Christmas time, or I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but
7 goals is decent, man, isn't it? For a player that's been getting loads of stick and he has been injured.
Yeah, he's had loads of stick. We know he's been playing with 2 broken feet. Like, for a midfielder, some would say maybe he's slightly better defensively, but he can kind of cover the hole pretty well, like whether he's like a number 8. Like, yeah, I think for any central midfielder to get 7 goals in a season isn't terrible. Like, I think Bruno's got 6. He's got 1 more than Bruno. So, yeah, absolutely cracking return. So, yeah, credit where credit's due. Like I say, I know he's had a lot of stick, but I think he's had I'm not going to say he's had a good season, but for what he's been able to do whilst injured, whilst being one of the Geordies, one of the lads that's committed to the team and putting his body on the line to make sure that he plays just to fill a gap as much as possible, as much as anything, because of all the injuries and suspensions and everything that we've had. Like, we've been so short in that midfield. If you took Longstaff out, we'd be fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Willock, Jolinton.
Miley's gone.
Yeah, Miley, Tonali. Like, sometimes it's been like 1 in, 1 out. Like, we haven't had time to get anybody replaced because as soon as somebody comes back, another one goes out. It's like fucking whack-a-mole. One goes down, one comes up. I think, credit where it's due. He's had a tough season, but he's been there for when we've needed it, and 7 goals. Can't complain.
Can't complain at all. And then up top then, this is the one what's got me thinking now, because I've very much been in the boat of bye Wilson. I was thinking of cash in, injury record's there for everyone to see, misses far too much football. We know he's guaranteed goals, but he's also guaranteed injuries. But then when I seen him on the weekend, and how he just scored like that again, and when he came off the bench the week before and he just scores, he's just that eye for goal and that knack of finishing. It kind of makes us want to keep him, but it's just like, I know because of the injuries, I don't, but I think I would keep him, but we still need to bring someone else in. For me, we still do have to bring someone else in. Like,
I'm 100% in the camp of keep him, but we should, like, I think, how many times have I said this over the past 15 weeks? We should have had 3 strikers. The idea of going into a season with 2 strikers who are both injury prone, to be fair, because Isaac has his moments as well. Like, it's just idiotic, and I cannot understand it. So, yes, get someone in, but that's your 3rd striker. Maybe Wilson will be your 3rd striker. Get in a number 2, because realistically, we're not going to replace Isaac. He's far too good. Like, the money that we'd have to spend to bring in someone better than Isaac is just absolutely phenomenal.
There isn't anybody better.
Yeah, so for me, you're bringing in a number 2 who can push Isaac if tired / injured / suspended, and then Wilson's your other option. Because especially when you go 4-4-2, you haven't got a striker on the bench. So for me, you need 3 strikers minimum in your squad. So selling Wilson does absolutely nought for me, because for me, you then have to buy 2.
Yeah.
And there's no point in doing that when he's so clinical. He's just a natural goal scorer, Premier League proven. How many Premier League goals has he scored in the past? Like, not even just for us, but Bournemouth.
He's our 2nd highest goal scorer now.
Exactly. Like, not right now. Like, yes, he's on the wrong side of 30, and as the team's going to continue to develop and strengthen, he's only got maybe 2 years maximum, 3 years maximum. But for now, there's no point replacing him, because you sell 1, you have to buy 2. So for me, you keep him at least for next season, but bring in a number 2. That way you're managing his game time, so he's not going to get injured because he's not going to have as many minutes. But when he gets on the field, you know he's got goals. So it's just a no-brainer to keep him for me. The Wilson out brigade, I just can't fathom. I don't understand it.
Is it not, though, like, I don't think he'd be happy being 3rd choice, would he?
That's up to him. I think as the club, you tell him that, but it could be 2nd. Also depends who it is. If it's a youngster with potential, maybe you bleed them in. So you keep Wilson as your number 2 for as long as possible until the other kid takes over. But again, it depends what the club want to do. If they go for quality and they know fine well he's going to be number 2, then you have the conversation with Wilson and you sit him down and say, look, we've brought this kid in. We want to keep you around. You're still very much in our plans. We want to use you for X, Y, and Z roles. We want you to stay. If you want to leave, we'll completely understand that and we'll support you in whatever you want to do. But if he's happy to be 3rd choice, then it's a no-brainer. If he's not happy doing it, then you look to sell him. Simple as that. Because, he's not reliable enough to play so many games. So it doesn't help the scenario that if you buy 1 and then Wilson's injured for the full year, then we're still back to square 1 because then we've only got 2 strikers. So that's the thing. I think you need to manage his minutes, keep him off the field as much as possible, but use him when you need to, But if he's A, injured, or B, not happy, then you move on. Simple as that.
I think his post-match comments were quite interesting. Like, did you see them when he was?
No.
It's that sounding to me that he was kind of on his way out, because he was asked about his future, and it was more of a, well, there's 3 games to go, and I am contractually obliged at Newcastle United, so we'll see what happens. Type of thing. I thought that doesn't really scream to me. Like, I want to stay, I'm going to stay.
Comment. Yeah, it's not. Doesn't like.
Maybe does he know that they're going to miss offers? Like, obviously we came close in January to selling them.
Yeah, maybe. And I think he's earned the right to do what he wants. Like, he's been so prolific, as you say. He's now our 2nd all-time Premier League goal scorer. I don't think there should be this need to force him out. So there shouldn't be like, he's injury prone, so fuck him, get him out of the club. Like, he hasn't earned that. Like, injuries don't deserve you to want him out. If he wants to leave, like, with every best interest at heart, fair enough. Let him make his own decisions. If he wants to stay, fight for 2nd choice, maybe it's be 3rd choice, great. But if the club want to move on, or if he wants to move on, then let's just all be grown-ups about it and not like be like, get it, the club. Yeah, he's our 2nd top goal scorer. He's been. I think his goal-to-game ratio is absolutely phenomenal.
It is.
He's such a he's just a naturally born finisher. He's just fantastic. So, yeah, let's be grown-ups about it and just see what happens. What will be, will be. Que sera, sera. But, yeah, there's no need to force him out of the club. Like, I don't agree with that at all.
I think... I was trying to make a decision on it. I can't really. But I look at it and I think the club have got to do one or the other, offer him a new deal or sell him. Because with only 1 year on his contract, you cannot let him go for free in a year's time. And now he's not the youngest. But if you were to sell him this summer, and remember Saudi wanted him in January, Atletico Madrid wanted him, you could probably get 10 to 15 million for him still. Especially if he goes to the Euros of England, which, to be fair, could happen now with a 26-man squad. Yeah. With Tony not scoring for like 10 games now. He's been terrible since he's came back from his suspension, from his betting ban. So, Southgate kind of likes him, kind of trusts him, picked him in a lot of squads. I think he's done all right for England when he came off the bench as well. So, I don't know, a big decision has to be made on Callum Wilson and then the impact that has on financial fair play and our incomings as well in the summer.
Yeah, that makes sense as well. Like, if you're going to get a good offer for him, someone of his age with his injury record, if you're going to get an offer impossible to refuse, then fair enough. Like, that's just one of them things. But yeah, it's just like the wanting him out, like the demand for him to be out because he's injury prone that I don't agree with. Like, his future is like in the grey right now. So I'm just happy for whatever happens to happen. But yeah, I just don't like people wanting to force him out of the club, like just like demanding him to leave. Like, he doesn't deserve that.
No.
Yeah, like it's up to him and the club to decide what the best course of action going forward is.
Someone who's got to be on that plane in the Euros is Anthony Gordon. Obviously had his first sniff at England in the last international break. That's 10 goals, 10 assists now for him. Unbelievable, that means. First player to do that since Rule Fox for Newcastle back in 95, 96. So a long time that's been coming. And not many people can boast that record from midfield. There is a winger in the Premier League getting double digits for goals and assists. So big up Anthony.
Yeah. I think we had the conversation in this very room a good few weeks ago before the last England squad was announced. Will he be called up? Will he not? Because, Southgate just seems to have a bit of an agenda. He's got his favourites. New kids like Anthony Gordon, who hasn't been called up before, certainly on the outside looking in, like haven't really got much of a chance, but he deserves to be. And I didn't think that he would be, but Southgate done the right thing, called him up, had a pretty decent debut. But for me, like, not only should he be on the plane, but he should be starting. I think he's the best left winger that England's got. I just don't see that happening. I just think there's more players in Southgate's eyes that deserve that. Maybe not deserve the spot, but will give the spot to because
he start Rashford and Gordon,
because he's got his favourites. Rashford, 100%. So
terrible shout.
I'd be amazed if he starts the first game, but I'd be even more amazed if he doesn't get called up because it would be an absolute travesty for England if he doesn't. Like, it literally is player of the season for me in the left wing position.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think there's anybody in the league been better in that respective position than Gordon.
Nah, because Foden's amazing and Southgate likes him there, but that's not his best position.
No, it's not.
So
it's an option for it, and maybe something that Southgate probably will do, but yeah, that definitely isn't his best position. So if we were going to go through Premier League team of the season right now, for me, Gordon's left wing all day long.
All day long, aye, literally.
And should be England's left winger because of that. But he won't be. But there's not a hope in hell's chance he doesn't get on the plane. If he doesn't, then we'll riot. Mad.
Stop the runway, get the airport, stop them taking off. Well, actually, they're coming here, aren't they? 3rd of June.
True.
So we'll do that. But I think Gordon will definitely on the plane, especially now that it's increased the squad by 23 to 26. Like, having those extra few spaces will definitely help Gordon's chances. Anything else from the game? Of course, there is the return of the big man, J7.
Big Joe.
Joe Linton was
Love
back.
to see it.
It was worth being up Burnley just for that, to be honest. Just to see Joe Linton run up and down that touchline, the ovation he got, the songs about him in the concourse before the game, the songs when he was warming up and when he came on. And what I loved about it, within seconds of coming on, there was the Joe Linton Avenue. Smashed straight into someone. Someone lucky bugger in the Burnley shades took a nice smashing straight away, and I was like, there he is. Joe Linton's back. That's what I've been missing. Oh, what a bloke. And
probably went crying to company at full time again. I thought you said he was injured.
I wouldn't have played if I knew Joe Linton was coming on. But you must be devastated when you see Joe Linton. How massive is that going to be, especially for I look towards Man U a week tomorrow. Like that, having him back for Old Trafford.
When did he go out? How long has he been out
Since
for?
Since January.
Was it Sunderland game he got injured, wasn't it? That was just after New Year, wasn't it?
Won the Madness. That's the only thing that you can get out of it.
Well done. That's your win for the season.
That's literally. We're lap of honour for finishing 16th in the Championship. Mugs. So Julian and Almiron and Pope are all fit and back. Nick Pope this weekend struck him in. He's fit.
I would say so, yeah. I think he wouldn't have been put on the bench if he wasn't close to fitness. Then he's had like another week to get there. So depending on how he's been in training this week, I think he starts. Because he is a big upgrade over Dubravka. Like, Dubravka's been in, filled his role. Some could argue done well. Some could argue he didn't. But, Pope is a big upgrade. So if he's fit, if he's ready to start the game, don't hesitate. Don't kind of give Dubravka like, you've done well for us, so we'll just keep you in for now. Like,
no, I'm not like.
Need to go with your best players. Like, we're pushing for 5th right now. Fuck 6th. We're pushing for 5th.
I was just looking at Martin's comment, the latest comment on the stream there. Do you think we can catch Spuds still? That may be Spurs. And we have 4 points off Spurs.
Yeah, you've got to go with your best players, but as long as they're available. Because I know a lot of players like Joe Linton and Almiron. Trippier could be back for Brighton as well.
Yeah, meant to be.
As long as everyone's fully available, not just, you're back in training now, so bang, and getting back in the squad. Like, I think we need to be sensible because it isn't important to the last 3 games of the season. Like it is the difference between potentially finishing 5th and 7th. That could be the difference between Europa League, Conference League, whatever. So we need to just fight for these last 3 games, get maximum points, 9 points. So go with your best players. So if Pope's fit and available, straight in there, bang.
Got to be done for me, because we have got to win that game. And Brighton, we'll touch on that preview shortly, but it is good to see those players back. Let's finish off on that question then about catching Spurs in our league position. After that win, we are 6th. Man United had a chance to go above us last night.
That one guy did it.
That one went out there. 4-0 battering off Crystal Palace. Embarrassing for Man United. They were destroyed. I'm not worried about Man United. The only team worried about Chelsea, you know?
That's really, really shit. Yeah. Chelsea's really catching up with them. They've came out of nowhere. It's like the Undertaker. He just came from nowhere. Last I've seen, I'm sure they were 12th in the league. Then all of a sudden they're 2 points behind. Where have you come from?
Had some favourable fixtures and 2 games in hand because of the FA Cup as well. League Cup.
I'm absolutely buzzing for that Man United game at Old Trafford, because they are really, 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 really shit.
Nah, they are. Really, really, really shit.
Yeah, and Spurs have still got City to play, I think. I can't remember who their last game. I think they've got Burnley.
This is the thing where I'm I don't think we can catch them because of this. I know Spurs are in a bit of bother. They've lost 4 games in a row for the first time in 30 years or something I've seen. But they have got Burnley and Sheffield United in the last 3 games. So.
Yeah, it's a bit sticky. But I think that was always a little bit of a pipe dream. I think they'll absolutely... They're not great. I think Man City will absolutely wipe the floor with them. And Burnley and Sheffield almost surprised us. So, you never know. There could be a draw in there, maybe. So maybe 4 points out with them. So what we got to go, if we get maximum 9 and they get 4, what's our difference? Can we catch them? I think it'd still be ahead, wouldn't it? But it's fine. We're never looking at 5th this time, 2 months ago when we're sitting 9th and 10th. We're thinking sixth is just amazing. And it's in our hands now. We just need to make sure that we don't lose to Man United. Yeah, fifth's a bit of a pipe dream. If it happens, then fantastic. But yeah, it's fine. Just get 9 points and then
do our job.
Whatever happens around it, it's out of our hands. What happens around it? Like we just need to make sure that we get 9 points out of 9, and we'll finish where we finish.
I see people saying it doesn't matter because fifth doesn't get Champions League now because obviously that's went to Germany and Italy getting that extra Champions League spot. But it does matter.
It does matter
because this would be an awful situation to be in, right? Because if we got 6, but Man United won the FA Cup, they then get Europa League and we will get Conference League, even if we finish 6th. So fifth does matter because fifth guarantees Europa League at least. Because imagine if we finish 6th above Man United, above Chelsea, Man U somehow shithoused the FA Cup final.
Shit,
You know what I mean?
That doesn't make sense. But even if that wasn't a factor, I would still say that it matters because with each position, that's prize money. And you can put that prize money towards signings and stuff. Like it's not a small amount. It's like, I'm sure it's like 2 million, 2.5 million or something per position. It's a lot of money. And fifth obviously looks a lot better on paper than sixth.
Exactly.
Couple more million in the bank. So it does matter. Like if you just end up in the Europa League regardless, then you can say, well, difference doesn't fucking matter. But it really does.
It's bragging rights now, and it's like, look at us, definitely. Out of all our injury crisis, out of the Tonali situation, out of the group of death, all the cup draws, if we can say we got fifth, we finished above Spurs, Chelsea, Man and you, that would be unbelievable.
Only one position worse than last year. And look how shit the season's been in comparison, like with all the injuries, like you just said. Like, now, one place off last year, which was one of the greatest seasons in the club's history, and all the mess that we've had to deal with this season, and we just finished one position lower. That's absolutely outstanding. Like, I think we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, is this season as good, if not better than last season, knowing what we've dealt with? But if we finished fifth, for me, that's absolutely no comparison.
No.
Like having beat PSG, having to deal with more games, tough fixtures, tough competition, every single competition. Like minus the derby, which is a fucking huge game for us. Fulham's been my easiest draw, and Fulham's a good team. Like we've had Man United twice, haven't we? I've had Chelsea, City
twice.
Yes, City twice, AC Milan, PSG, Dortmund. Like we've had a shocking run of fixtures. And you put Tonali's suspension, all the injuries. Like this season's been absolutely phenomenal. And like you said, fifth is a bit of a pipe dream. It might be stretched too far because we're running out of games, really. Yeah. I think we'd catch Spurs if we had even 4 or 5 games. If there was 10 games left, then we'd catch some neighbour.
But all their fixtures are a bit trickier. But listen, if we can get 6th, that'll still be a top achievement, and hopefully that does get Europa League because you'd bank on a City to win the FA Cup final, say, wouldn't you? Same final 2 years in a row, that mad.
It's dead boring, that.
But dead boring, aye. But hopefully Man City get the job done, as they should. But it's Wembley. Listen, cup final.
Yeah, never know what happens.
It'd be typical Man U. To be fair. We're all on about the results and fixtures, how crap Man U are. They've done it already this season. They'll beat Liverpool and they'll get slapped off Palace, or they'll beat Liverpool and they'll get draw with Burnley. Like, they could. It's like Man U to get something against Arsenal this weekend. It's at Old Trafford. They'll turn up. Their last, hurrah, and then they'll get beat in the next game against us. Hopefully. Yeah,
it's horrible, and I know it's. If that wasn't a factor again, like hypothetically, if it didn't affect our position potentially going Europa League conference, I want anyone to win but Man City. So I'd rather Man United win, and I hate saying that because they're a bunch of scumbags. But I'm just sick of Man City just winning everything. Even though they're a couple of points off the boil at the minute, I still think they win the Premier League. And will that be 4 Premier Leagues in a row? It'll be back-to-back FA Cups. I know they're already out of the Champions League, but they're just boring. I'm just sick of it.
It is boring.
We're going to end up like a PSG, like a Dortmund, although I know Dortmund haven't won. Bayern Munich, and I know they haven't won the league this year, but we're like 12 years in a row. PSG's however many years in a row, minus 1 year where I think Lille won it, and like who else? Like just any team, any league where one team just dominates for far too long, it just gets boring. I feel like we're almost on that trajectory.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So if anyone else can knock Man City off that perch, even
us,
I was going to say even Sunderland, but I'll not say that. Take that one back. But yeah, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, whoever it is, just stop Man City winning it, please.
Not this year though.
Not this year. No, maybe next year.
But we'll see how it plays out. Some big games this weekend, which we'll talk about towards the end of the podcast. But I know you've been waiting. Over 350 people tuning in live, so thanks for that. Please do subscribe to By Channel TV if you haven't already, and drop a like on this one. As now we'll talk about Dougie Freedman, who is apparently leading the race to be appointed Newcastle United's new director of football to replace the absolute scumbag gardener that is Dan Ashraf, the Judas. So Freedman has apparently been offered the role, and it's his to turn down now as he contemplates leaving Crystal Palace, where he has done a top job. Yeah. So Dougie Freedman, very well liked in Palace, labelled a legend actually, so maybe that's why he's thinking. But I think he'll obviously leave, whether it be us or Man United. They apparently want him as well, but they don't want him as their director of football. They actually want him to work under Ashraf just in recruitment. However, at Newcastle, he would be the new sporting director because he comes with a very impressive resume of transfer history, to be fair. Talent ID is very much an asset of Dougie Freedman, who, like I said, he's a Palace legend because he also played for them twice.
Yeah, for a long time,
Yeah, managed them as well briefly, and he's also been manager of Nottingham Forest and Bolton Wanderers in the past. But what we want to know is how good is he as a sporting director? And if you look at Palace, to be fair, very good.
Yeah.
Because look at all their players that are linked with big money moves that he brought from nowhere, essentially.
Yeah.
His ideas. You know, so he's the one that was instrumental in bringing in Eze, bringing in Elise, bringing in Mark Gahey, bringing in Wharton most recently from Blackburn, who everyone's raving about now. They were bigging him up on Monday Night Football last night, and rightfully so. He's been class, to be fair. Since
helps Conor Gallagher, I know, because his loan spell at Crystal Palace really put him on the map, didn't it? I thought he should have signed, to be fair, because I thought he was phenomenal there. I didn't think he would have got much of a chance at Chelsea. A bit different now because he's like the captain, basically. But I think that loan spell really helped him solidify himself in the Chelsea team. I think without that loan deal, who knows where he'd be now. I don't think he'd be in the Chelsea starting 11 at least anyway.
No.
So, yeah, he was a big one that helped get that deal through as well. So,
so if you look at that in terms of transfers,
good resume.
Very good record, because that's what we want. You want someone who can come in, bring those ideas, bring those lists of talent to the club, because I see a lot of Man U fans gassing up Ashraf. You know what I mean? Saying, well, he signed Bruno and Botman and all that. He didn't. He wasn't even there for when Bruno was signed. And then the other players we've been scouting for ages. So he did sign, your Isak recently and your Tonali and stuff. But when you look at Freeman at Palace, what he's done there, brought them there, again on not much of a budget, not much expectation, but he has done very well in recruiting those players. Tarek Mitchell as well, left back, is very good. So Freedman, would that be a good appointment for you?
I think so. It's an unpopular name, and I get that. I think a lot of people my age would maybe remember him as a player. Maybe he's not being the best of players. Maybe he's a little bit of a forgettable player. Yeah. Maybe he's one of them Champman legends, but not much more than that. I think maybe it's 300 appearances for Palace as a striker, scored a fair few goals. And I think that gets misconstrued a little bit, because I think if people do remember him as a player, you think, Dougie Freedman. We're really going to say that Dougie Freedman.
Very unsexy name.
It's a very, very unsexy name. But post-playing careers can be very, very different. I think he is doing a cracking job. I think the proof's in the pudding. The deals that he's made, the people that he's signed, that's what you look at. That's absolutely phenomenal business. So he probably wasn't one of the top candidates. We've done a video a couple of weeks ago. I think 3-4 weeks ago, we went through potential candidates that were being reported. I think it was one English guy. Paul Mitchell, that was it. And a couple of people from Benfica and a few other people.
Pinto.
That was it, Mr. Pinto.
The Roma guy.
So, yeah, his name wasn't even brought up. No. And it's just kind of came up until yesterday. And I'd never even considered Dougie Freedman. But when you look at it, you think, that's not bad. And the club's quite clearly done their due diligence. I think since the
Hopefully,
well, you'd like to think so.
Bank accounts,
I think since the whole Ashraf thing, I think they've probably been quick to look. They haven't just sat around waiting for him to put his shares down. I think straight away they must have been thinking, right, we need to get a replacement in. There's no point having this prick on garden leave for the next 18 months and just sitting getting a wage for any reason. We need a replacement, because Ashraf was a big part of our plans. So hopefully they've looked at Pinto, they've looked at Mitchell, and whoever else, like a dozen maybe players, potential people that they would have looked at. So if he's the one that's ticked all the boxes and they're adamant to go and get, then that's good enough for me. Because like, hey, you look at his resume, and it's great. Like I said, the name doesn't do anything, but I've seen some comments on Twitter and stuff. Some people saying that, I'd rather have had Maldini. You're not saying him to fucking play striker. He's not come to play for me. Like, I'd rather have Maldini now replace Paul Dummett. That'd be class. But like things happen like post careers, like management. Like you had a okay spell as a manager, but some of England's best ever players over the past 25, 30 years, Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney. Look at their managerial careers. It's been a shit show. Like Maldini might be a big name, and the name alone might attract people because I think, I'll go and work with Maldini. But he's not coaching. He's not left back. Like,
exactly. We'll never see him again.
It's a very different role. So it's more the position, how good, how qualified, and what he can bring to this team that I'm concentrated in by names. Like, Dougie Freedman doesn't sound sexy, but yeah, like you said, he's brought in these players from nowhere. Eze and Elise, I'm sure, in the championship, and other people that they've brought in from practically nowhere, like developed youngsters. Like Elise got a £60 million buyout clause, I think, at the minute, and which is probably going to get triggered. Like Chelsea did last season, but for some reason didn't go through. I don't know how or why that happened, but it's a good appointment for me. I don't know a whole lot about it. I think we brought this up again when we went through the candidates a couple of weeks ago. Like, not many people actually know these people by name. Like, you just see the name, you do a little bit of research, find out what they've done, be like, all right, that sound. But like, we've seen it in the Premier League, like people from Benfica, Porto. I don't know. Like, I haven't got a clue. I'll just trust what Google tells you. But you've seen over the past few years, like the signings, cheap signings, nobodies that Palace have made, and they've made a pretty good team. I also seen he was influential in getting Vieira in, who granted wasn't the best of managers, but at the time was a big name, big Premier League legend. Was doing okay. I think he was he in the MLS? He was influential in getting that done. Maybe he's not his best bit of business, but it was a big name and a young manager on the scene at the time. Could have worked out wonders, didn't, but I think Freedman, if the club's done their due diligence, they've had a look at a dozen candidates and he's number one, then that's all I need to know.
His record signing is Mamadou Sakho for 26 million. That one's not the best. Not the worst.
Not the worst.
Not the worst, not the best.
Fair fee for Crystal Palace, but he had a big reputation, didn't he? He was a big signing for Liverpool when he came from PSG to Liverpool, then Palace.
Yeah. Well, Palace fans might like, actually, maybe he did better than I thought, but I just thought, was that... But when you look at the players we've listed, man, that's top for me. And I just think your rating it comes out, and people in the chat are talking about Maldini as well. But it is, again, is it you think because he's Scottish and not Italian. Freedman, Dougie, Maldini, Paolo. You're just going for that. I mean, for me, we were always going to hire someone. I thought it'd be Mitchell because it kind of got leaked out that the owners, your Staveleys and stuff, and Eddie Howe would prefer to work with someone domestically, someone that was already Premier League proven, worked in England. Makes sense. Rather than risk going for that fancy name. I forgot the Roma's guy name. Was he Pinto or was he the other one?
Yeah,
Tito or something, fucking Jackson 5, whoever it was. One of them from over there. I just knew. And people criticise us for this, to be fair. And some people say this about Howe. Always signing English players or like Premier League proven and stuff, which isn't true, but they point towards, your Halls or whatever. Yeah, so trying to play players. Like, I don't get why that's an issue, and why getting Freeman would be an issue. Look what he's done. Those players listed at Palace. These are some of the best wingers and players in the league.
Yeah, literally.
Mad for me.
I think why you would criticise signing English Premier League proven players is beyond me. Like, is that not what you want? Is that not an attraction? Like, getting these big international players coming from La Liga or wherever. Yeah, it's sexy, but is it practical? No. Some players like Morata and Higuain and Di Maria, some of the biggest names in world football at the time, came over to the Premier League, had 1 year, but fuck that, I'm going back. It's too hard, can't do it. I don't want to do it, I just couldn't do it.
That's something odd to do it,
Yeah, it's hard. Like, it is the best league in the world. It's so physical. It's a lot quicker pace than some other European leagues. Yeah, it's not for everyone. So if someone's got experience in the Premier League and can label them Premier League proven, that's a big plus for me. Like,
me too.
I think, like say, like foreign players, yes, it's a bit sexy. It looks great on paper, but sometimes they just need to take a bit of time. Sometimes they don't always hit the ground running, if at all. So yeah, Premier League proven, it's a bonus. There's no learning curve. There's no like run up at us. Like just bang straight in and you're done.
Exactly. And hopefully he can bring Elise up the tune with him.
That'd be nice.
And you can get a bit of leverage into that because came out last night that Newcastle are going to rekindle their interest in Michael Elise from Palace, who does have that £60 million release clause. That's according to the Mail, but also targeted by Liverpool, City, Man United, everyone else.
Yeah.
So for me, I can see him, and he would be mental to do this decision in my eyes. We've talked about the downfall of Manchester United, how poor they are. Is the manager going to stay or go? What they're going to do? He's still favourite to sign for Man United because apparently he's a Man United fan. I find that bonkers to me, like, because of Man U could literally and should finish below us this year. So at least say 60 million to Newcastle. Do you reckon it's a possibility?
I think it's a possibility, and I think if Freedman did come, that would be a big plus. Like, if hopefully they've got a good behind-the-scenes relationship, and hopefully that plays a factor into it. But it's just hard to see right now, just because of all the interest, because of these big teams. Like, I know they've been shite over the last couple of years, but Man United, it's still a big club and a big draw. And if that was the team he supported growing up, then they're going to have that advantage. He agreed to sign for Chelsea last season, but then it pulled through. Again, been shite over the last few seasons, but still a big team with a big draw.
Big money as well.
And big money. And I think other clubs, like, I think he's got to be the sensible one here and weigh up his options, because that's probably going to be attraction from abroad. So I think that's the only reason why I think we won't sign him, is because of how much interest he's going to accumulate. He's probably going to have, I don't know, Bayern Munich or any big Italian team, Barcelona or something. Like, he's that good. And if he's got a release clause, 60 million doesn't sound that much, because I think he's worth it. So I think if anyone sees that clause, probably sees what his true value is, it's probably not far off. So I think bang, we'll just snap him up. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of interest, and I think it's going to be really, really difficult. I think the only thing that would pull it is A, Freedman, if they have got that behind-the-scenes relationship, and B, we're going to have to sell him the project and like the promise of being a star here. He's going to be the next Bruno, the next Gordon, the next Isaac, and we will win trophies soon. Could be 2 or 3 years' time, but we are going to win, and he can do that here. I just can't see him. Yeah, maybe he's an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup at Man United. Chelsea, I've got no idea with. Or he could go to Man City, and I think Man City probably would take him, but he's going to be rotational. He's going to be a bench player, and they could sell him. Oh, we're probably going to win the Premier League next year, and yeah, you will.
Maybe the Champions League final again.
Yeah,
maybe, like.
You'll win the Premier League and the FA Cup, guaranteed next season. Probably playing at least the quarterfinal of the Champions League. That's a massive draw, but how much game time are you going to get? How much do you want to play? Like, how much do you want to be a superstar at the club that you're at? Because you're not going to get that at Man City. No. So Newcastle is as an attractive offer anywhere right now. Because like I say, Man United and Chelsea are a shit show. You're not guaranteed game time at Chelsea, Liverpool. Arsenal might be a good shout for him, but...
Giving him Saka.
Yeah, like, I just think City, Newcastle is a big pull for him.
City, for me, they should have got him to replace Mahrez. I think he's a perfect replacement for Mahrez, for that rotational thing, for the future. Could be there for years. Yeah. They obviously went with Nunez instead, didn't they? From I think that hasn't really worked out that well.
He was a lot of money now, wasn't he?
Oh, nice, 45 million or something. Doesn't even kick well. But at least, I mean, I would love Freedman to bring him up in Newcastle as well. If you think that front three of Elise, Isaac and Gordon, my days, that would be electric.
He's more of a right sider, isn't he? Yeah. So, like, as I just said about 20 minutes ago, that's a massive, massive need. Huge upgrade on Almiron.
Huge.
And we've got Minter coming back and Murphy. Like, that midfield three there, like the competition, well, not competition, but the levels, you'd have Elise guaranteed starter, 38 games a season. Young Minter trying to break in, be a bit more rotational, and then Murphy is your kind of wild card. Like that depth there is
Sell
unbelievable.
Miggy. I'm telling you this will happen this summer. Miggy will be sold. Newcastle will sign a new right winger. Whether it be Alicia, I think it may be a bit of a stretch. The other right wingers we are linked to is Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao and Pedro Neto of Wolves. Neto for me,
Spoke about him a few weeks ago, didn't we? 40 injury prone. He's about 50 million, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's a quality player. Apparently Wolves are going to let him go from 40, 45, which is decent.
Yeah.
Got a good record in the Premier League. He's had 2 long-term injuries just this season
he's a phenomenal
both against
player.
us.
I like him. Yeah, true.
Both suffered injuries against us, but I think he's a top talent, but he just injured. That's the last thing we need is more injury-prone players. Williams from Athletic, I'd be a big fan of that. I think he's class.
Hasn't he got like a record for like games played or something like that?
So that's the type of player we need.
Never injured, until he comes to Newcastle.
He's
never injured, never suspended. First game, does his ACL and then gets done for betting.
Till he gets in that cursed training ground and gets done by fucking the physio that should be working in the 3 lines. The pubs, you know what I mean? Lions Head or something. God almighty.
We've also got to weigh up, like, as of right now, nothing in terms of like a PIF change has happened. It may not happen until next year. So last season, we kind of maxed out our budget by spending 55 million on Tonali. If we spend 60 on Elise, what we got left? Mm-hmm. So I think that needs to play into a factor. We need to be smart and try and be one step ahead of the game and thinking, is the FFP rule going to change as ineffective this summer? Because if not, then we might not have 60 million to spend. And it will, but how much more will we have? Like, how can we improve the rest of the team? Because there's a lot of other holes need filled. Like we've just mentioned, we need another striker, at least one. If Wilson goes, then 2. Centre-backs, we know Lascelles and Botman's going to be out until January. So we're probably going to need 2, maybe 3 centre-backs. And maybe there's a bit more depth elsewhere. Maybe it's number 6. There's a lot of...
Mamadishvili, very much heavily linked.
There's a lot of holes that need filled. And if we've got a restricted budget because of PIF, we can't just be getting around spunk on 60 million.
I think we'll have probably about 120 to 150 million to spend. But you got to remember the Adidas money comes in this year.
True.
Champions League money we get from the downfall, and then obviously if we get rid of Amran for a bit of money, Wilson, maybe even a Longstaff or a bit of money elsewhere. I'm not going to get much for Dubravka and the rest of them, but
a couple million maybe.
I think that will help, and I think we will sign maybe 4 players this summer. And I think we'll spend a bit of money. I think the priority has to be
we need it.
Goalkeeper, right winger. Another probably versatile forward striker to challenge the young one. And then obviously you're setting it back at 2. Yeah. So plenty of work to be done this summer. And we will be here every Tuesday still live for the podcasts during the summer. Transfer news and plenty of guests coming on over the course of the transfer window. Right then, we've got about 10 minutes left of the podcast. So get your comments in, get your questions in, anything like that. And we'll run through the best ones as we now take a look towards our final home game of the Premier League season. This Saturday, 3 o'clock, Brighton and Hove Albion, Steven Seagal FC, coming to the Toon, who are off the back of a 1-0 win against Villa. Whereas before that, they'd been on an awful run of form. Terrible. Yeah. De Zerbi hype. I don't rate him as highly as many others do, to be honest with you. However, it must be said, they have had a massive amount of injuries this year.
Yeah.
Hey, us.
Yeah.
But they've had, big hitters missing. They've still got players injured and stuff. Obviously, we'll know close at Saturday the crack with that. But Brighton, Newcastle, last year obviously was a great game. That saw us qualify for the Champions League. Beat them, was it 4-1? Was it 4-2? Something like that?
4-2, aye.
This Saturday, what are you seeing then? Confident?
I should be. It's just typical that they get a win the week before us.
Yeah.
Because I watched a little bit of the Villa game and I seen a stat come up and I think they'd only scored 3 goals in the last 8 games and 2 of them were own goals. So they're on a horrible, horrible run. But they get a good win in Villa and all. Like Villa's a good team. It's not like they beat like Burnley or Sheffield or Luton. Like Villa. 4th. Very, very good win for them. So that kind of went against the run of play. I think if Villa beat them, then I'd be super confident. I'd honestly be, especially with some of the results that we've had recently, I'd absolutely fancy flipping the results from earlier in the season because I think it's a little bit of a revenge game for me because they embarrassed us at the Amex whenever it was.
Oh, definitely
August,
revenge.
September.
Worst performance of the season, that.
3-0, absolute shocker. So I'd fancy at least a 3-0 flip. But yeah, the 1-0, I don't think it changes much, to be honest. It was a good win, kept a clean sheet against Villa. Yeah, so I'm not as confident now, but I still think we've got enough to get 3 points. Whatever the result, will it be a 3-0 flip? I don't know. I don't know how confident I am in absolutely smashing them, but I am confident of 3 points. I think we can at least scrape a win, however it happens.
I think there'll be loads of goals, mate. Just like every other home game we've had, to be fair, for the past few months. Yeah. Even, you know, you're looking in your Bournemouth 4-4s and that.
4-2 or something.
I think so.
That'd be average.
I think we could have a repeat of the 4-2 because Brighton, De Zerbi, you know, to be fair to him, he's like Ange, and he plays that one way.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to change it. I do fear, and I think, and I go back to this, remember Fabrizio Romano tweeted out here, we go João Pedro to Newcastle.
Yes,
remember that?
Done deal.
You thought it was a done deal, I end up saying for Brighton. I think he's been a really good player. I like Pedro.
He has. He's good, but I don't know, because everyone was like kind of sucking him off a little bit after scoring the goal on Saturday. Did he miss a penalty now?
When's that?
On Saturday.
No, he scored a penalty.
He scored the penalty. I remember saying something about a penalty. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So everyone's like back on the hype train. Like I just said, they scored 3 goals in 8 games, and 2 of them were own goals. Right, he scores a penalty against Aston Villa, and all of a sudden he's the king again.
8 goals in how many games?
They'd scored 3 goals in 8 games.
Oh, rich. Wow.
And 2 of them were own goals.
Jesus.
Prior to the Villa game. And then he scores a penalty against Villa, then all of a sudden he's the king again. Like, so yeah, he's been a good signing. Like, he's a good player. I'm not like trying to criticize him, but yeah, I think you score a penalty against Villa, which is your first goal in 10 games. Oh, so he missed the penalty and scored the rebound, right? Okay,
that's the only game I haven't seen highlights of, to be fair.
Yeah, I watched probably up until then. So I watched the first half and then must have missed the second half. Yeah, he's a good player, and I think he would have done well being here as an option. I think that's all he really would have been. Because I think he plays a bit more number 10 for them as opposed to a striker as what we thought that he was. I think if he came here, he'd maybe be that second choice. I think he'd be behind Isaac, maybe he's ahead of Wilson.
He's versatile. That's what's good about him as well.
Yeah, he's not like
Ferguson was out and out on the wing.
Yeah, so he's not like an out and out number 9. As what I think they were hoping that he would be, and he scores a lot of penalties. So yeah,
penalty mentioned.
He's good. He's a good player. Not saying that he's not, but I don't know. I think he's maybe slightly overrated for the price that they paid for him, and like all the hype about. I think he's got 10 goals, which is good.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Considering the season Brighton have had, listen, Europe's really hit them hard.
Yeah,
was it a quarter they got to against Roma? Or was it around a 16? You know, they've had a good run. The first time ever they've been in Europe, and I was on the mid-6. That's a new show with Chelsea, Man U, Brighton, and that. And Ryan on there, the Brighton fan, he was saying he's still buzzing. Listen, it's the first time they've been in Europe. They've never won a trophy in Brighton. A trophy in the history.
Really?
Wow. He's the only.
Well, to be fair, they've never really been high in the English pyramid until they came up with us in 2017. They've always been a kind of League Two-ish team.
They've never even won a trophy.
Yeah, they've never really
we haven't won in 67 years. But
yeah, at least once.
Ever.
So yeah, like Brighton kind of came out of nowhere really until maybe a couple of years before they got promoted. Like they established themselves as a solid championship team. Then just in the last 3-4 years, they've established themselves as a very good Premier League team. But prior to that, they'd always been like a really lower league, kind of nobody really kind of gives a shit about team. So it's not that surprising when you look at it. But when you look at the team that they are now, very good Premier League team, and you think, wow, won a trophy in your history. It's kind of mad.
Yeah. So it shows how far they've came. But thankfully for us, you mentioned revenge. It was Ferguson who was dishing out the goals against us back in the start of the season. He's obviously had a horrible time.
3-1 because Wilson scored right at the last second. That meant absolutely no
point at all.
That's why I forgot that even happened. It was like 94th minute. I was sat there absolutely fuming. Just hoping that we weren't going to concede a 4th.
Ferguson was on fire that day. He's only 19. He was scoring Premier League hat-tricks. Yeah. And he was getting linked to £100 million moves and everything. Obviously, he's had a torrid time with injury. Yeah. He is still injured this weekend alongside Solly March, Hingelwood, Estepinian, and Matoma, all out injured. So
some of the best players.
They really are. I still think Brighton have got some good players. I do like Billy Gilmore in the middle of the park. I think he's had a good season. They've always popping up with these names you've never heard of that just turn into £6 million players.
That's what they're good. That's the Ashworth effect.
I know it was.
Ashworth signed half of them.
But away from home this season, De Zerbi's side, they've won at Wolves, Man U, Forest and Sheffield United. The most recent being back in February. Since then, they've lost 3, drawn twice, scoring just twice in those 5 games. Albion ended a 6-game winless streak with that 1-0 win over Villa. Hopefully, we mentioned it at the start of the show, see the return of Trippier maybe this weekend, Joe Linton maybe, and Nick Pope could all start, maybe even Miggy as well.
Yeah, be nice. I don't know, I think out of all of them, I think Pope's maybe is the only one who I would consider starting. Again, depending on how fit they are. If they prove 100% fitness and they have cracking training sessions during the week, then they could all be in contention. But I'd maybe just be a little bit cautious and maybe not try and throw them all in. I know there's not many games left, so it's not as if they get ruled out for the rest of the season. What's that, 2 games? It's not the end of the world, but it's just that Man United game that I'm focused on. I just want to make sure that everyone's fit for that. So I'd be quite happy to have them all on the bench. Get some games, get some minutes into their legs. So yeah, bring them on by all means, but I'd be a little bit cautious about starting them if they're not 100% ready to go. So
especially before that trip to Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's my only concern. Like if it wasn't, then I'd say I'd play them. But that Old Trafford game's just really just makes me want to just wrap them in cotton wool a little bit. Let's say there'll be amazing options off the bench if we need them. Hopefully it goes more towards the way of we're absolutely smashing them. So we'll take some of our best players off, get Isaac off.
Like Burnley. Bring Richie on.
Get Richie on. Bring fucking Shaw out. Or it could go the other way where the game's not going the way we want it to and we need a little bit of help. So I quickly get these on and try and see if they can make an impact. But yeah, hopefully it's the first one, not the latter. But yeah, I'd be a bit cautious about saying I'd just start them.
Start them all.
Nah. I think Pope's the only realistic one. I'd start Pope, but the others, just depending on how they do in training, I'd just be cautious of that one.
Good shout. I'll go. I like that 4-2 again.
Yeah, I do as well. Actually, now I've mentioned it.
I've got that on. We've both had 5-1 on.
To be fair, can you see them scoring 2? We just looked at their record.
No, I probably can't actually.
Yeah.
So maybe
they missed the penalty. They scored the rebound. No. That's their first goal in 6.
Pedro's definitely going to score. Guarantee that. Actually, I'm going to go 3-1. I think 3-1.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. Like, just with the way that they've been playing, scoring recently, I'd be kind of fuming to concede 2 against them. So even if we won 6-2, I'd be like, well, we conceded 2. I'd be raging.
Our goal difference is class as well.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I did fancy that 4-2 once we mentioned it. I think that did sound realistic, but the way they've been scoring recently, 3-1. Yeah, I'd take any 3 points the way that they come because they can be tricky opposition. They haven't been in the best of form recently. So, yeah, 3-1, I think that's a good shout.
Past East Town, it was 4-1 last season, lads. 4-1 or 4-2, we said, wasn't it? 4-2. I thought
because I know we scored 2 late goals.
4-1, Isaac hat-trick says Aaron for this weekend.
Oh, so was it 2-1 and they were pushing for the equaliser? And then we scored 2 late goals. All right.
To be fair, I was kindly invited into hospitality last year by Irish Greg, big him up if he's watching.
Irish Greg.
In the old Gallagher Lounge. That was delightful. So I can't really remember much of the game at all.
Hey, see them goals.
So this weekend, 3 points either way would be absolutely lovely. We will finish off on this question from Brent, who's a member. Remember, you can join the Whack Channel TV and become a member. Monthly giveaways. This month is about to be announced. Yes, boys, do you think Isaac will be signing a new contract soon?
Oh, yeah, that was mentioned that Eddie Howe wants to get the deal done. He's pushing for a contract extension, I read today. It's not something that the board or anyone that has really had discussions with. But Eddie Howe wants to get the deal done because he sees him as an important player. So I hope so. But he's still in contract until 2028, so it's not as if he's running out anytime soon. He's on a long-term deal. But I think they maybe want to renegotiate. I heard they want to extend it to 29 and probably give him a big, sexy new wage.
Yeah,
which he deserves.
The thing is what is true about his wage is that it's getting hit by 20% alongside some other big earners at Newcastle this season because of not qualifying for the Champions League.
Right.
So the contract clause that was actually put in by Dan Ashworth was that if we don't qualify for the Champions League, certain players that are on big wages get a 20% reduction this year.
That's money.
So that's why I think there's another reason they will be giving a new contract, increasing that and trying to pursue him to stay, because let's be real, if an Arsenal, who are heavily linked, did come in with him, he could literally double his wages overnight.
But
Arsenal paid big wages.
The amount of times over the last few weeks that we've spoke about trying to keep hold of Isaac and Bruno, if that occurs to both of them, and then if they're going to get 20% reductions and not being playing Champions League, then they might think, see you later. so, yeah, if we can renegotiate and get that clause out, then that'll be class.
Well, exactly. Because if you think what Jesus is on at Arsenal and Marcus Rashford at Man U, £350,000. Imagine Isaac sitting at home fucking having a bit of Cheerios with his cereal at night and a bit of supper. And he's reading like, how much should I be getting? I'm on 100 grand new. I reckon I should probably be getting about 150. Marcus Rashford on 100. Spitting out his
Where's my agent?
Right, what's going on? Get me out of here. So I tell you what, I'd be thinking of Rashford.
I'm sweet, get me out of here.
These bums are getting 2, 3, 350 a week. Gee, I'd be scratching his head thinking, I'm worth way more than this.
So what's he on? Must be only be on about 120 or something, is he?
Isaac's on 120, but apparently it'll go down about 100 or something after this. So
I need to renegotiate that.
Renegotiate.
Yeah.
Renegotiation.
Yeah, so higher extension on that. Yeah, he's currently on 120 to 2028. Yeah, change it to 2029. Whatever he wants. Blank paycheck, he's earned it.
He has.
200. Whatever it is. Bang! Get him in.
But to answer the question, Brent, I do think Isaac will sign a new contract, and hopefully that'll be a good signal of intent to everyone else to F off and leave him alone, because you're not touching him. He's gone anywhere. Him and Bruno, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Right then, there's still over 300 people watching. Thanks very much to everyone that is tuned in live tonight on YouTube. Remember, you can also listen to us on all podcast platforms, Google, Spotify, Apple, all of that. And if you're watching back after this has been live, thank you very much. Do drop a like, subscribe, check out Wobia. You can scan the QR code to get a pack yourself or head to the website link in the description. And most importantly, enjoy yourself. Bash.